Prediction Ascension Podcast. Hate me or love me, there's no in between. So you already know I'm a day late with this story. Bronx Daycare, Divinos Ninos, Divine Kids, I guess. Pretty much 3 toddlers were critically injured by allegedly fentanyl exposure or opioid exposure, and a 1-year-old died from opioid alleged exposure. It's crazy. This is a real sad story in the Bronx that a daycare was actually harboring fentanyl, and now they trying to say the girl didn't know nothing about it. Now it's too late, but I guarantee she's going to get off anyway because she's a woman. And well, the judge gave him no bail on his part. So I think he's doing the right thing. But this is just a sad story. Why is fentanyl in the area of children? You could just breathe it in or touch it, and you could have an overdose. It's a sad story to hear, man. Check out the news case.
About that whole story that we've had to talk about, that horrific death at a daycare center in the Bronx that appears to have gripped everyone. This story.
Yeah, I mean, it's front page of the papers. It's all over the place. You see this little boy here. A 1-year-old was killed, 3 other children hospitalized after being exposed to opioids inside their own daycare. And we're going to talk about ways that you can try to make sure your kids are safe before dropping them off at these daycare centers around the city. But sometimes it just is this worst case situation, and it is not preventable. In this particular case, investigators are still looking through how did this happen, and Janice Yu is live in the Kingsbridge section of the Bronx this morning. I think that's the question, not just parents like Shirlene and I, but everybody's asking, how could this happen? How were these kids around this drug at all? Janice, what have you learned so far?
Right, Shirlene and Mike. I mean, that is really the most gripping part of this story is just how bizarre it all is and tragic, of course. So right now we know the 2 people who were arrested, the daycare operator as well as the tenant in the apartment, they are both being held without bond.
See, what I heard about this, she was renting a room to a guy, which I would have had a problem with from the get-go, that she's renting a room to a older man while there's kids there. That means he could come and go when he feels like it when there's kids there. I don't believe in that. That's not a good look on her behalf. That's a no-no right there. Second of all, you don't know what the guy was doing or whatever. That's your concern because there's children there. You're getting enough from them daycare vouchers from these parents that's on Section 8 or whatever, or you get enough hand cash, you're taking 12-year-olds. So I think you get maybe $300-400 a kid that comes to your daycare. And trust me, I know it's a competition in the Bronx now because I'm in a building with 2 daycares right now. These females turn 2 daycares in, and the landlord doesn't care as long as he's getting the rent paid. So it is what it is. But you can't blame it on city officials. It's a sad thing that they're about to put the blame on city officials, but it ain't the city's fault. It's the person keeping company. She's keeping bad company. So you can't blame it on the city officials. If you're doing an inspection of the apartment, you're just there to make sure the kids aren't malnourished. There's no dead roaches or feces on the floor. Things that's obvious. You're not looking for a drug den. That's the cop's job. They didn't have a warrant that somebody's allegedly selling drugs out of here. Nobody was ratting them out or snitching on these niggas. So it is what it is. That's the crazy part. So you can't really put it on city officials, man. People look for certain things when they work. The Department of Buildings look for bad structures, staircase problems. ACS is looking for kids being malnourished and stuff like that. Cops are looking for drugs, guns, and fucking warrants and shit like that. Everybody has their own job, but you can't blame it on these city officials.
And this morning, they are looking for the daycare operator's husband. They want to talk to him in connection to all of this. So the 2 people who were arrested, Gray Mendez and
that nigga went to DR already.
Brito, are now facing 11 charges, including murder and manslaughter. A judge denied their bail, saying they were flight risks after the, quote, reckless and depraved death. Authorities say 4 kids somehow came into contact with fentanyl inside the Divinos Ninos Daycare. This daycare had passed a surprise inspection just the week prior. A 2-year-old boy remains in critical condition. 2 others were hospitalized, and sadly, 1-year-old Nicholas died. According to the criminal complaint, a kilo of fentanyl was found in the hallway closet outside Acevedo-Brito's room. Mendez's attorney claims she didn't know he was storing drugs in the apartment-based daycare, and that her only crime is renting a room to someone who is allegedly in possession of drugs.
She had no idea about what was in the closet. She called the cops. Would you call the cops if you know that there's fentanyl in your apartment?
We ain't buying it, bro.
On the run?
No comment.
Exactly. Stupidity.
Well, it's not clear at this point what role, if any, Mendez's husband had played in all of this. But again, authorities are searching for him right now. They do want to talk to him about
That boy
all of
went to
this.
DR already.
So
He outta there.
curious to know how those children came in contact with those drugs. Very close to them, but still a lot to learn from this here. Thank you for.
So you've seen the story. It's just the husband's already on a fucking flight to Sosúa. Like I tell you that right now. He's in Cabo Verdes, Santo Domingo. He got up out of there. He left. He ain't trying to go to jail. And can you blame him? Nobody wants to fucking go to jail. That's the instinct. Human instinct is to be free. And I want to be fucking free. I don't want to be caught up in nobody's fucking jail. But the second thing is, you got to know something was going on, shorty. Because he's in and out. He's moving fentanyl. He got fentanyl. He got kilo press machines that you could press a kilo. Like, come on. You got to pay more attention to the company you keep. And second of all, it's not city officials' fault, because the surprise visit was for certain issues. Malnourished, kids being abused, kids sitting in the corner not having fun, psychological problems or whatever the kids might be having. They're not looking for drugs. They're not the cops. So you can't blame it on the city officials. That's the problem. They now want to point fingers at the city. It's not the city's fault. City is looking for, certain agencies are looking for certain things. The cops get calls, anonymous tips saying such and such, this is going on, this is going on, and that's going on. It is what it is. But you can't blame the city officials. She have to blame her and for the company she keep and her husband. They were adults, and they was supposed to be in care of them children. This is a sad story. Man, Predictions Hit Your Podcast. Hate me or love me, there's no between. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and beware of the company you keep, B. Facts.